Okay, hey everyone, and welcome back to the Seed Podcast, the show where we bring the best people, stories, and lessons shaping the future of entrepreneurship. Today's guest has seen more startups than most founders will ever meet. She's worked with over 1,000 startups, spent time in venture capital, teaches entrepreneurship, advises candidates from Germany's Shark Tank, and has dedicated her career to helping founders avoid expensive mistakes. Ruth Cremer, welcome to the Seed Podcast.
Thank you very much.
Well, before we get started, I want to do something a little different. You've spent years listening to founders pitch investors. Today, I want to reverse the rules. Imagine Jan and I are partners at a VC fund. You have 30 seconds. How would you pitch yourself? Who is Ruth Kramer? Why should we invest in you? And what's your unfair advantage?
Pitch yourself with what goal? Getting funding.
No, no,
Okay.
no. Just like, yeah, getting to
As
know
a
you.
person.
Okay, because that would be a hard thing to do. Because funnily, I don't know, I wouldn't take foreign money myself. At least not for the company I'm currently have. Okay. Yeah. Well, actually, you already said the most important things about me. I've worked in venture capital. I studied mathematics. I'm a mathematician. And so I always had like a big passion for numbers. And with everything I did afterwards, getting into innovation management and then later ended up in the startup scene, I realized that there is a huge problem actually, that founders don't really get their numbers and their business models right. And I saw what power is behind there, knowing your numbers, knowing exactly what things to twist to have more margin, to get more customers, to get more reach, whatever it is. The numbers tell you so much more than you actually think. And so you already feel it. I got a passion for it, like teaching people, actually the power that comes with it, because a founder who owns their numbers, is so powerful in every discussion towards investors or clients or whatever. And yeah, so I made that my mission. And today I'm not just doing one-on-one, I'm more and more trying to, with all the experience I also get from the German Shark Tank, where I see like loads and loads of founders every year, and all my other clients, I try to actually extract the knowledge I get from all these examples and from the basics I get from the VC and turn that into knowledge products that hopefully help the next generation and the next entrepreneurs, to yeah, build better companies.
Okay, we want to dive right into your experience with Germany's Shark Tank. And we have a couple of questions prepared for you. So, the first thing we wanted to know is what happens behind the scenes that the viewers cannot see?
Mm, a lot. And a lot I'm not supposed to talk about.
Okay.
Yeah, but let me see. What can I say? I mean, there's so much, right? For example, it starts with me preparing them with a phone call. Like that is how it starts for me. But there's a lot of other stuff going on, of course, with the decoration and maybe even costumes they choose or whatever, because pitching on TV apparently is a different thing than pitching in front of investors with all the stuff that is going on.
No.
But also, like when they're on set, I'm always there when we record, and we do kind of a prep, yeah, how to say, like, kind of a preparation talk with them where we also let them pitch for the last time, and we clarify last questions. And I always try to give them last hints, like do like a last analysis on the case and say, hey, I think your biggest challenge is to make clear that you are not working in a super niche or that you can extend your niche, or your biggest challenge is that you can make clear that you are at the beginning with your customer acquisition and you are super sure because you have reasons that and someday you
Hmm?
can do that much more efficiently or whatever. So whatever I see like the main problem is, so I try to give them that. um yeah, I don't know what else happens with nobody. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that doesn't come into the cut, right? And that is
Yeah.
basically my biggest issue, because I always say my work is always cut out. Because there are so many questions like towards the the numbers much more than you see.
Yeah.
But also about like regulatory issues or legal issues, and that is too much for the normal audience. So normally this is all cut out, and that hurts a bit sometimes.
They should do behind the scenes for the real like entrepreneurs that want to dive right into it. I think that would be so much valuable like to learn from like the whole like 2 hours of episodes that they do.
I'd
But
love
actually
that.
like yeah, me too. Me too. Actually, there is a question like I was asking myself, what are the most common mistakes that founders do when pitching?
Oof, a lot.
Wow. Okay.
I mean, in general, or on the TV show. I mean, it's pretty. I would say it's pretty much the same. So what we see a lot on TV and in normal like startup life
Yeah.
is that founders focus too much on their product, and every answer they
Yeah.
give is just about the product. You know, like the I think I recently did like a Instagram video to that because like the investors ask like, okay, what are your customer acquisition costs or what is your margin? And then they say, yeah, our product is so great. And but look about this and this feature. So every answer is basically a feature and that doesn't
Yeah.
work, you know? And then on TV, it's really helpful, I think, because you can actually see how the investors get like kind of annoyed and kind of
Yeah.
like impatient, you know, saying like,
Yeah.
ah, come on, this is not what I want to hear. This is not what I asked, right? So this is a very big mistake. Like just
Okay.
keep like to the product and not answering the questions they want to hear. They were asking for. Mm, yeah, but also like over confident founders we see a lot, you know, that
Okay.
overuse all these terms like customer acquisition cost, customer lifetime value, and all
They
these
just
things
throw
you
in
should know.
keywords.
Yeah, they just do. I don't know, do you say that in English, buzzword bingo?
Yeah,
Basically,
I guess it makes
can you
sense.
say that? So basically, they're just throwing around buzzwords and
Yeah.
showing how well they know their material. But actually, they don't because you can see that they don't really pick the ones they choose, but they're just throwing them around.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, this is
It's
also a
That
big mistake.
it's
that's
quite
super
funny
interesting.
because 3 weeks ago, I think, Hassan, we had Peter as an interviewee in our
Yeah.
episode, and he was actually pitching in Shark Tank Germany a couple of years ago. And we asked him, "What do you do to reduce your nervous, like to being nervous? What do you tell the founders to reduce being nervous and actually being confident, which is the other side of the coin, I guess."
That depends heavily on the founder themselves. Like
Okay.
I'm not a psychologist, but sometimes I feel I have to act like one, especially when we're like in the preparation room. So some are super insecure, um, which which partly hurts my heart because especially women are like super insecure, although they build something really great. And in that case, we really tell them like over and over again, hey, you can be proud of what you have. Like you, and they are like, oh, but I just made like 100,000 revenue. I'm like, seriously, there's so many founders who would give everything for making 100K in the first year. Yeah. So it's amazing what you did. So you can be proud of yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah. You think so? And you know, so you really have to kind of build them up. And then there are some who have like are like more afraid that they can't ask specific questions, and you have to be more specific and say, hey, you know your business, right? Like they won't ask you about like sometimes we say like, hey, they want you ask you about your revenue year 2 months 10. This is not the kind of question they ask. You don't have to know like every field of your spreadsheet by heart. That's not
Yeah.
what it's about here. You have to know your business by heart, and that you do like stuff like that. So it really depends how much they need and what kind, yeah, of prep talk they need. So it's really different. Like every person is different, right? So
100%. Ruth, what's the one idea that you remember from Shark Tank Germany that you really
awesome.
related to?
Oh wow, so many. So I'm a tech person at heart, so of course I love these things, especially when it comes towards sustainability, which unluckily has like faded a little bit in our society right now. But like especially the things like we had these how to say like this these plastic packaging material that isn't plastic that you can actually it looks like plastic and you can wrap every thing in it. And then you can put it in the soil, and 2 weeks later, it's completely gone, right? So I think this is amazing because these are the kind of things we need. Or we had these panels you can put on the street with like the photovoltaic on it, and you can then and they have LEDs and they can melt the snow and they can like show you all the kind of science you need. And then you have we had COPA, which is this paper that is actually able to serve as a heating. So it's basically a wallpaper serving as a heating, needing much less energy than you would normally need to heat a room, right? So we had
Yeah.
such amazing things that could actually improve the world so much if we just use them. Yeah, if people just bought them, if the industries would just apply them. Um, and but also then there are the simple things that just help you in everyday life. Like my one of my favorites still is the washies, which are these little makeup removers that just work with water. So for me as a constant
Yeah.
traveler, it's amazing because I don't need this makeup remover bottle anymore, and it's just one pad you can wash. Great. I mean, it's sustainable as well. It's just a little thing for the everyday life, but it's
It's
cool.
solving,
It's just,
yeah, it's solving
yeah,
real problems,
yeah.
100%.
So, and I think it's not just, it's all, not always the big things. Of course, they make, they make my heart beat faster, but it's also sometimes the little things where I like, oh wow, they solved the problem and I went for it and I took a risk and I built a company out of it. And I think that's also an amazing thing to do.
Okay,
So yeah, I can't
cool.
go on like that forever. So just too many.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, we have a second section now in the podcast which we call destroying entrepreneurship myths. Okay,
Oh
and
wow.
so the first question is, should every founder move to the US?
Who wants to move to the US nowadays?
Oh yeah.
That's another good point.
I would. I don't want to get too political, but honestly, every woman who does it, I would hardly question. Anyway,
I
so
guess the
as a
underlying
female,
question is more, what does Europe bring to investors,
I
particularly
know.
Germany?
I said I'm not getting political. Sorry, but like, um, all right. Well, from that perspective, I think I never was that big of a fan of the way, especially venture capital works in the US, because there's a lot of. I recently did a LinkedIn article that explained like the mechanics of VC money, right? And this is, I think, like 10 or 100 times in the US. So once you take VC money, short form here, you basically sign a growth contract. So you have to grow. There is
Yeah.
no nothing you can do about it. Yeah. And if you don't, you lose shares. That is basically the short version of it. And I think in the US it's even more extreme. It's growth, growth, growth. It's not building a healthy business model a lot of times. It's not building a great company where people like to work, where you yourself like to work, right? And there is no place for that. There's growth, growth, growth. That is what I know from the US, and what I heard from many founders is even more extreme. And I think what we have in Europe is it goes that direction sometimes as well, especially with the current AI trend and defense tech and stuff. But I think we still have areas and industries where where you have the chance to find investors, maybe not VCs, maybe angels or so, but to build like a stable business and to build a business that actually, yeah, you like to work in, yeah, and that is actually the business that you want to dedicate your life to or part of your life. And so I think there's more room in Europe for other kind of businesses. There's not just the big growth, the big vision. There's also room for other models. And I think every model has the right to be there and not just the growth model. So yeah, I think that's the biggest advantage of Europe we have. And we
Okay.
shouldn't lose that.
Actually, following up on what you just said with AI companies, I mean, you're a tech person. I would consider myself after my master also right now a bit that. Do you think there's a bit of an influx of AI companies right now? And it's obviously also speculations about a bubble, but that's, we don't have to go into that. But do you think too many companies are focusing on like the big picture of AI, but they're missing like the actual processes and optimizing them? What do you think about that?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's a very complicated topic. Yeah, we can start. I mean, we don't even have to go into the bubble question. We can even start with like the dependence on the big US companies or whatever you want to shed light on. It's a super complex thing, and then put everything together, it's even more complex. But anyway, what really concerns me is that, and that is like what I said before, for me, very typically US, that everything is like big, big, big. And when you look at the numbers, especially at OpenAI, I mean, they burn money like crazy. Like,
No.
and then they have the energy problem. Like, where is the energy coming from for like the next model and the next model?
Yeah.
And so, and all these companies, like we see in Europe, we just had an exit, I think, in Germany from also an AI startup, OpenAI bought it, like one of the biggest exits in Germany so far, I think.
Okay.
Um, and this is also, I mean, this is accelerating the thing because everybody thinks, okay, I just build an AI startup and then like OpenAI or Anthropic or whoever will buy me and I get super rich. But the question is, how long will they have money for that, right? How long can they go on like that? Of course, they can do an IPO, but at some point, at some point, they have to make money, and they are so far
Yeah.
away from that.
Absolutely.
Um, and that really concerns me that nobody really wants to see that. I'm not saying it can't work. Yeah, I'm not saying, I mean, if we tomorrow have like a new way of getting all the energy they need, and if we have, I don't know, if everybody then uses it and we have even more applications and so on, maybe, yeah, I'm not saying it will never work, but it really concerns me because it's just so far away from a business model that can work.
Yeah.
And there is so much money going into that. And then we kind of try to copy them, but in small and, like
Mm.
throwing a lot of VCs here in Europe, especially in Germany, as I see, throwing a lot of money into AI startups they don't even understand. So I think there's a lack of knowledge and education on the VC side here as well.
Yeah.
Because I see funding rounds where I'm like, it's a rapper. It's nothing. Like, guys, what are you
Mm.
doing? Like,
Yeah.
why like 20 million valuation? Like, they have nothing. They have no clients. They have like not even a real technology. There's nothing. Like, we see these cases. So dangerous. Especially for the whole economy. So it might be even a bubble. I don't want to get too deep into that really burst. It might just go slightly down at some point and people lose interest, or it might be a disaster, or it might work at some day. So it's super complex. I think we can do like a whole podcast for like
Yeah.
3 months just on that topic. But yeah, I'm just concerned. I'm concerned because my baseline is first, not enough energy to make it big enough at the moment, to make it big enough so that it can work. And second, no business model I can see working in the near future.
Yeah, we might be looking into a future where LLMs actually get super expensive and they're right now
Yeah,
just super subsidized and it's like, inflated, but in the future it will be much more costly to use it.
I think so too. But then the thing is, who's gonna use that? then usage is going down, right? Because not every
Yeah.
private customer, not every small business is going to use them and build their own agent for like everything. They will be like very picky and say, okay, this is something that really saves me time, that really saves me money or workforce, whatever. So I'm gonna pay for that. Yeah, so it will change considerably. And then there's the question, is then there a business model when it's super expensive, but usage is down? I tend to say rather this than what we have now, but yeah, we'll see.
Talking about this topic, there are a lot of founders today that like kind of fire their dev teams to replace them with Claude Claude Code or whatever. Um, do you think it's more efficient this way? Like if we talk about it only business wise, and do you think like on the long term is like sustainable?
Oof, hard question. I mean, it, I can and did code a bit, so but I'm not an expert. I'm not a developer, so it's really hard for me to say. At the moment, I'm doing a project myself with Cloud Code, so I think it's the possibilities it gives us is amazing. But still, and the developers and the tech people I talk to, still they say it doesn't do everything for you. You still have to be able at least to read code, to know how to build a good architecture, and so on and so on. So I think what it is really valuable for is shortening the time for like the MVP or a prototype, to actually test if, especially for entrepreneurs, AI is an amazing thing. Like coding, vibe coding is an amazing thing because yeah, you can build things and throw it onto the market and see if people will actually buy for it. Like it takes you so much less time to build something that actually people can buy, right? So you need less money for it, especially investors' money, right? So bootstrapping is much easier, but it can't do it, like it can't do the validation for you. You still have to develop something that people want to buy, and you still have to do the valuation. And since you need less money for building the MVP, for example, investors claim more numbers. Now we're back to the topic. Actually, investors claim more numbers and more market validation earlier in the investment process, right? So before you could gather, I don't know, in Germany, like 500,000 or whatever pre-launch because you were building something, some cool tech stuff, whatever. Now it's more difficult because investors know that it's much more easier to build an
Yeah.
MVP and test some assumptions, right? So this is a big effect we're seeing on the market currently. Um, and on the other hand, to come back to your main question, um, I think yeah, I think if you're really doing, how to say, I was about to say advanced tech stuff, but you know what I mean. And the more techy, the more complicated it is what you're doing, the more you have to get yourself into it. If you, for example, um, have like a product, everyday product, like the washes from before, you can easily set up a landing page. You can easily do almost everything you need with vibe coding. But for example, if you do a matching platform of some sort or whatever, at some point you have to get deeper into it. You have to care about security, especially if you handle a lot of user data and so on. So there's a lot of
Yeah.
things you still have to get into. So short form AI is great for MVP, for trying stuff out, for building first versions and see what people really like. But at some point when you build the real stuff, I think at least right now we are far not there yet that it can do everything and code everything for you.
Okay. I guess the next question is a bit related to that. Um, a bit related to AI, but in general also to the entrepreneurship way of life, I guess. Would you still advise people to go to university today if they want to pursue their dream of being an entrepreneur?
Oof,
But we're still in our myth section here, okay? So,
that is a super hard question. I think it really depends on what you want to study, and it depends also on like on yourself, like what kind of character you are. I mean, even at my time, there were people who built the business like doing their studies, and then at some point it got so successful that they say, okay, whatever. I'm gonna leave university, and it's fine. I have everything I needed, and that worked well at that time, and I think that effect even accelerated now. I think I would do stuff differently if I had to do the same today again. I would definitely start a side business earlier,
yeah,
much earlier, at least to finance my studies better. Yeah, but I think it really depends. For example, if you want to go deep into tech stuff, I think it still makes sense. Like, because the thinking you learn when you study math or computer science or physics or all of these things, I think what you really learn is not like the stuff they try to teach you there, like analysis and whatever. But it is the thinking, the problem solving thinking,
yeah.
the breaking a problem apart, and so I wouldn't be the same person I am today if I didn't study mathematics. So it actually shaped me. I had the basics, but it actually shaped my thinking the way it is today. And so I couldn't do what I do today if I didn't study mathematics. But I think that is really
Yeah.
different for everyone. So
Yeah, I guess also there's a misconception of mathematics studies because people think it's just formulas, but actually they teach you the way of thinking, right?
yes,
So that's a
exactly.
very particular example. Yeah. I guess there's more to
Exactly.
university as well, such as the
Yeah.
people you get to know. But yeah.
hmm Learning how to
Um,
learn, for example, learning to organize yourself,
yeah.
all these things, and they're super critical, and school doesn't teach you that. So yeah, also very big topic, very, very different angles.
Maybe one last question for the section we're in right now. So you were helping people on the German Shark Tank, but you said in the beginning you are personally not looking for investors for your own business. So why is that? And when do should entrepreneurs look for investors?
Because I'm crazy bad with bosses and everyone who wants to tell me what to do. I got I
Okay.
got fired like 3 times because I didn't get along with my boss because I was so bad at taking how to say, not orders, like, yeah, but like telling people how to do what I do. And also my brain works very different. I'm a night owl. I work in big batches, and then I need to take time off for 2 days. So I have hyper focus, where I like work like crazy for hours, and then I can't do anything for a while. So you can't press me into any pattern. Um, and yeah, so I can't imagine having, especially if you see maybe a business angel of some sort who brings extra knowledge or something. But I myself, I couldn't imagine working with a VC who said like we have a reporting on Monday, every second Monday in the month or whatever. But like,
Okay, okay.
yeah, but at that time I'm in Australia, so yeah, wouldn't go well with my digital nomad life as well. So I need my freedom. I just need my freedom. So but that's a very personal reason. I'm not saying it's the right or not right thing for anyone else. It's just not the right thing for me.
I love it. I can completely relate with the hyper focus thing. I really have the same thing, and I'm trying to regulate it as much as possible, but it's kind of hard to do. But yeah, moving on
Try
to the
to go
next
with
thing.
it for a while. Try to go with
Yeah,
it. You might be surprised. Not regulate
yeah.
it. Try to embrace it.
Okay, that's a good point, but I'll end up not sleeping for 2 days maybe, and then not doing anything for five. So I'm not sure if
Yeah,
it's the
but
best thing.
if you work for 2 days nonstop and
Yeah.
then you sleep for 5, And in these 2 days, you do the same than other
I'm super
people do
productive.
in the whole 7 days, and you feel better with it. Why not go for it?
Fair enough. Fair enough. You're right. I might try that. I will let you know how it goes. But yeah, but the next part is more about like advice that you would give students that are undergoing this current process. And if I'm 23 years old today with no money, no network, and no startup idea, what should I spend the next 12 months doing?
You mean if you don't go, or if you go to university, or and if you're
I
planning to go into startup,
yeah,
or
I in my last year of uni, and
hmm
I don't know what to do afterwards.
hmm
But I'm considering going into entrepreneurship.
hmm
What should I be doing?
try yourself out. Like visit events, see others pitch, and try to see what appeals to you. If you hear, like, if you're on an event and you hear like 6, 8, 10 pitches, and there's something that really appeals to you, you try to speak with the founders. Maybe they even have an internship or an entry position, or try yourself out. I mean, it's not too bad, even if you lose a year or something with something that doesn't lead you anywhere. It's still an experience. So I think we don't, like, I come from a generation that was very focused on, oh, don't lose any time, be super, like German, like knows what I'm talking about, like, be super, yeah, um um how to say, like, go towards your goal, right? Have a goal and then plan it out, the steps and everything, what to study, what job to take, and whatever, and go for that and only that. And I think this is, nowadays, this is complete bullshit, because there are so many possibilities, and you can be wrong so easily. I mean, I've met so many people with a corporate who did that, exactly that, planned everything out, and then after 10 years in a corporate job, they're like, it's not,
Yeah.
it's not the life that makes me happy. It's not what I want to do. And then it's incredibly hard to change everything around. So also, if I could give myself, my younger self, an advice, I would always say, hey, Ruth, try yourself out. Just try things, like, change student jobs, try to build something on your own, just for fun or whatever. Just try yourself out and then see what happens, and go with whatever really appeals to you, like what you really feel. And then it sooner or later will lead you to something that is pretty cool.
Okay. This next question is a good one. What is the fastest path to becoming investable as a startup?
Investable. It depends on who. If you go for the classic, like VC investable, produce numbers, right? So if you're not, like, first, we had all the topics. Like, it's very easy with AI, with vibe coding, to build a website, to build a landing page. So it's very easy to get like an MVP, or at least a landing page that says buy here, and then it says, oh, sorry, we're not ready yet, please join the waiting list. Yeah. So then you can build a newsletter up with these people or whatever. So be creative and produce numbers, even pre-launch, pre-market. Produce some numbers that show real interest in the solution you are building. So
Yeah.
because then you can go to an investor and say, hey, okay, we haven't launched yet because we need money to build this and this, but the thing we are building really solves the problem of people who are willing to pay, because we did this and that, and we have, like, with I don't know, with this amount of money spent, we built up a newsletter with 5,000, or a waiting list with 1,000 people just waiting for us to tell them you can buy the product. Or we did a crowdfunding that was very successful, or whatever. Yeah. So in B2B, you go and collect LOIs, or like prototype customers. Oh, as I said, be creative, produce some numbers,
Yeah.
show that people actually, or companies are actually willing to spend money for the solution you are offering. And yeah, that's the most critical thing, I think, especially right now.
I love it, Ruth. I actually have like one follow-up question. That's like, you know, uh, like people that founded a lot of companies and first-time founders look at a lot of things very differently.
Yeah.
Um, what are the best tips that you could give first-time founders? So as like how to view the global situation of their startup and building a business.
I mean, I don't want to go too much into a different topic again, but today, when you say, okay, to make yourself investable, of course, there's a lot of legal and IP issues and so on, right? So you should also be aware of these things. And today, if I had to build, like to start from scratch again, I would definitely research more, yeah, where and how I want to build a company, yeah, that later fits my lifestyle. Because in some countries, if you build a specific kind of company, it's very hard to change that later, and yeah, these kind of things. So this is something, especially since the world is so connected today, this is something you want to, sorry, you might want to take care of. But apart from that, it's what you also see with founders who already built a business before is that they are much more focused on testing their assumptions, especially the assumption, okay, if we build this that way, then people are gonna buy it, right? Your main assumption that should be tested by the MVP. Like they try to test as early as possible if people actually want to spend money on what they're doing. And yeah, and today it's so easy, with social media it's so easy to put up an account, to try to get some videos viral, to see some first. I mean, it doesn't mean people will buy it, right? But it is at least some indicator that people are interested in what you're doing, and so maybe you can then build on that. And yeah, so that is I think the big difference, like that founders who already did it, they know how important it is to not waste time on building nice things that nobody wants.
100%. The last part of our podcast is we ask you three questions, and today for this episode we've added a novelty. It's gonna be a smash or pass situation. So I'm gonna give you startup situations, and you say smash if you invest, or pass if there is no chance that you invest. Okay?
And I shouldn't give a reason.
No, just smash or pass.
Okay, smashes, invest, passes. Okay, I pass. Okay.
Exactly. Okay.
Okay.
So
Okay.
imagine the first scenario. Imagine a founder has 150,000 people on the wait list, so a lot of people on the wait list, but zero revenue. Would you smash or pass?
If I only have that information, pass for now.
Okay. Second scenario, a founder has
Oh,
a
wait, you said
yeah,
waitlist. You said waitlist.
yeah,
Oh,
on the wait list, yeah.
it's not bad, but I wouldn't direct invest. So I need more information. So I have to pass basically on everything you're saying, I'm afraid. But
Hassan?
yeah, I would look deeper into it, definitely.
Okay, the next question, the next scenario is, so the founder has 500,000 euros in revenue, but no growth in the last 3 years.
Pass.
Pass?
Pass.
Okay. And then the last one is a bit of a split question. So you have two founders. One has worked at Stanford, McKinsey, and Google, and the other one dropped out of high school, but has already built two businesses. Who would you prefer?
The latter, of course.
Okay, perfect. So Ruth, thank you very much for coming to today's podcast episode. We learned a lot. Thank you for
Okay.
sharing the insights. It was really valuable. And we're gonna link all your social medias at the bottom of our episode. And yeah, thank you so
Cool.
much for being
Thanks.
here.
Yeah, thank you very much. It was a pleasure. Bye bye.
Bye bye.